Shalom, family. Just want to say hello. This is a quick, or hopefully trying to be a kind of quick video on a few things here that I want to put some talking points together, because I don't have any notes, nor do I have anything written specifically to talk about, but I know what has been placed on my heart. Number one is traditions of man. And traditions of man, such as Easter. Easter, many of us have grown up in a house where we get dressed up Sunday, Easter Sunday, we go to church, and then after church we have dinner or lunch where we have pork, some type of swine, a ham, and where the kids are going outside, they're getting their little Easter egg hunt on, and getting they're hunting for their Easter eggs with all kinds of goodies in it, and a bunny rabbit, and all this yada yada yada. What's the problem? Problem is that Easter has nothing to do with Messiah. Why? Because Easter was named after Ishtar, a pagan goddess, a deity, and all the traditions that come with that day, the bunny rabbits and the Easter eggs. Bunny rabbits are fertile animals. That is the reason why they represent fertility, because spring is in the time where everything grows, everything rejuvenates, renews, and in that time is when the bunny rabbits go out there and you see them reproduce, and you get all kinds of bunnies. By June, July, you got lots and lots of bunnies, and etc., etc. It's also a time where people see the flowers blooming and everything is growing fresh. So this was tied to that. The eggs, where they come from, is also connected to when they were sacrificing infants at that time, and they would dip the infant's blood on these eggs, and they would put them in front of this deity or whatever. I may not have all the correct details as far as how everything was laid out, but the fact is that they all go together. There's no such thing as a bunny rabbit laying eggs, and common sense tells us that, and yet we still do these things for children, knowing or maybe not knowing what the true origins are. Just because it's a tradition of men, we follow after the wrong deity. And that's why there's a lot of scriptures. Oopsies. Sorry about that, guys. You want a little ride with me? Shush, puppy, shush. That's why there's... Stop, Lobo. That's why there's so much in the scripture that talks about how your traditions, you think you do them for me, but we don't do these for him. We do these for us because we like it, because we grew up doing it. This is what we're used to, and we're not going to change it. We're not going to stop for anybody, even if there's a lot of truth and evidence and proof out there that this is against God, the Most High. And that's where we need to wake up. It's 2018. There's a lot of evidence out there. There's a lot of truth out there that tells us that these are traditions of men. These have nothing to do with the Father, and it doesn't have anything to do with the Messiah. If you read the scriptures, we understand that the Messiah was hung on a tree, not on a pagan or Roman cross. A lot of people take offense, a lot of people get mad, but if you read the scripture, it speaks specifically he was hung on a tree. Okay, tree, and people say, oh, well, tree, cross, similar, tomato. No. It's important to understand these things because we're doing things because we're used to it, or someone else started it, and we follow after these things. And guess what, guys? We're following after the beast. We're doing things. The scripture says that we will all be following under the beast. We would all be wandering after the beast. The scripture tells us in Revelation. So that means you, that means me, that means all of us. We've all been wandering or following after the beast or the beast system. We haven't understood that this had nothing to do with us. This is nothing that we were supposed to be doing. But we're used to it, And then what else do we do? What's abominable? We go and we eat some ham for Easter. What does that say in the scripture? That we're not supposed to have swine. Why? Because swine was considered unclean. We got to understand, people, that not because it's chopped up and cooked and put on your plate doesn't mean it is beneficial for us. The scripture tells us that, yeah, you can take a rock, and if you want to eat it, doesn't mean it's beneficial for you. We have to take our spiritual body, our physical body, and we need to understand that they go hand in hand. And if we want to raise ourselves up spiritually, we need to remove the junk in our physical body. Plain and simple. The scripture says the cockroaches of the sea. We got shrimp. We've got lobster. We've got so much stuff, guys. I'm not going to go through this. Go to the Leviticus book, and go through the things that we're not supposed to have, the dietary law. And yes, people say, well, the law, and because Peter and Paul and John and this one and that one. No, they knew better too. That's the reason why when he has a vision, I want to say Paul or Peter, forgive me because I don't have my reference points in front of me, but when he was seeing a vision of this unclean thing, and he referred, well, I have never eaten an unclean thing in my life. That wouldn't be me, da da da. And it had nothing to do with what he was eating. It had to do with him calling men unclean, because he was going over to bring the truth, the gospel, whatever you want to call it. He was coming to bring it to people who were not of his own. They were not Israel. They were not Yashrael. And that was the reason why he was getting these visions, but he didn't understand initially. He's like, oh, wait, whoa, I don't eat unclean things. Hence, where you need to really see and research that most likely none of them ate unclean things. Yeah, maybe they had fish, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I'm on the understanding that the Messiah never ate anything that had life, because he is the life, and nothing dead dwells in him. So I don't believe that he was a grave for rotting carcasses of animals. My opinion, there's also some research in the Dead Sea Scrolls and in the Qumran books to back up what I'm talking about, but I know there's a lot of twisted things out there. Again, I'm just going to try to focus and not get off topic, because I do get a little bit excited about things. And I love the Most High, and I love the Messiah, and I love to share the truth and more info. So let's move forward. So on Sunday, we dip eggs, which have to do with pagan worship. We call it Easter, which is after Ishtar. We're doing the stuff with the bunny rabbits. Got nothing to do with the Messiah. And we don't even know that he was on a tree, not a cross. And then we eat pork to sanctify and to honor and to bless him on a day that also has nothing to do with the Messiah or the Father. So everything about this upcoming feast or celebration has nothing to do. They can dip it in blue, but we know that underneath that, it wasn't meant to be blue. It was originally whatever. And this is what we do with every single holiday. We translate, we convert it, we twist it, we do whatever we want to make it feel good. And we gotta pacify things. We've gotta make it comfortable so that people could come in off the street. There's a huge bunny rabbit in front of the church so that we can draw people in and stuff like that. But guess what? We're all wandering after the beast. This is why many of us have been plucked out of the congregations, of the churches, of the synagogues, of everywhere, wherever we were. He said, come out of her, my people. And he's talking about the world. He's also talking about the world's religious system. Another thing, Christmas. Christmas is a hard one for many of us. I won't go deep on it, but Christmas is one of those you really, really, really need to look into and research and find out what the kneeling before the tree and what the tree, evergreen tree, has anything to do with Messiah. No. And a lot of people are like, well, but he knows my heart. And what does the Bible say about our heart? That our heart is always wicked, always thinking of doing bad things. Our heart is deceitful. So if we go after our heart, then we need to take a step back, pray, fast, and really understand what we're talking about when we say, oh, well, he knows my heart, and he knows that I do it for the kids, or I do it because my family, and because, but guess what, guys? I understand it's a difficult thing. I'm understanding that because I grew up and I know better than anybody how nice it was to be able to celebrate all kinds of things. But when you come into the truth and you know what the deal is behind all these things, you have to say, wait a minute. Am I following truth or am I following tradition? And there's so much more, everybody. Also, the names were switched on us. God is also like saying Baal. I don't need to pronounce these names because, you can research for yourself, and we're supposed to be very careful with what we say, because remember, the scripture also tells us that it's not necessarily what goes in that contaminates us, it's what comes out, because our tongue is also used to destroy people, bring people up, or destroy them. But that doesn't mean you're not supposed to follow the dietary laws that we were instructed or given. That's a twisting of scripture, so we have to understand what's what and to not be deceived. Another thing is that our people are constantly saying the enemy or the devil made me do this or do that, but we don't take accountability for our actions. And what I mean, for anybody who's not able to understand, is that we think that the enemy or the devil is always on our back trying to get us to do stuff. Guess what? If we're in sin, they have the legal right over you. And if you don't want to be in sin, then you need to learn how to turn around and start living righteously, and get out of the way of the heathen. That's what the scripture says. Either you're with me or you're against me. You're hot or you're cold. None of this lukewarm, none of this in between. And I get it. The churches pacify. They say, you know what? Once saved, always saved. Grace, yes, yada, yada. No, grace was given to us so that we might be able to walk in Torah. To be lawless is to be Torah-less, to be Torah-less. So when we say, oh, but the law is done away with, you know what? But yet in Revelation it says, my servants who kept the testament and the commandments and to kept everything that I told them to do till the end, those are my people. It doesn't say, the law will scratch it out, and those that maybe kind of sort of followed my commandments and maybe did what I said kind of sort of halfway. No, he's coming back for a blemish-free, a spotless group of people. He's coming for people where he's going to take dirty garments and put clean garments on us, because we will be walking in righteousness. Maybe people say, oh, it can't be done. We can't be perfect. We can't. But guess what? That's also deception. Once you submerge yourself in this lifestyle, when you submerge yourself in the Torah, in the Father, in the Son, and understand what it's all about, you will your desire will be to do the right thing. Your conscious, your inner ruach, your spirit will say, no, 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 this isn't right. And we'll learn what's right and what's wrong along the way, you know. Just like when we're children, we need instruction. And that's exactly what the Father does to protect his children. He has given us instruction. But many people teach, well, you know, you don't really need to because of grace, he's going to forgive you and you can do whatever you want. So, okay, go on having sex with whoever you want. Go on talking about your neighbor and stealing, and just go on living life the way you want and see how far that's going to get you. Because I was saying before, we constantly blame the enemy for the things and the choices that we make instead of saying, wait a minute, what did I do recently that is causing this effect in my life? Oh, well, you know, I lost my job or my work or my this, my car. I never have any money. Woe is me. Or you're always sick. But what are you doing when you're always sick and not feeling well? What kinds of food are you putting into your body? I say this because I'm going through this right now, where last year I was so sick, I didn't know if I was going to make it to this year. And the Father told me, keep eating the way you're eating, and you're not going to be around long. You want to be healed just by praying, and poof, done. Everything's perfect. But we need to understand that it's a team thing here. The Most High and the Father and the Son, they come to us to help us walk it out. But we need to do our part. We need to pitch in. You can't ask for health and pray for health, but not take action towards getting healthy. What do? You eliminate the junk food. You eliminate the fast food. We can't keep saying, cure my diabetes, cure my this, cure my that, my obesity. I'm obese legally, on paper, whatever you want to call it. Legally, I don't think that makes sense. But anyway, according to the doctors, I'm obese. And what am I going to do about it? I've already lost almost 30 pounds. I'm working it out, you know, and that's our salvation. That is our life. Everything. We have to walk it out and work it out. There's a narrow path, and it's not going to be easy, guys. It's going to be a challenge, but this is one thing I promise, that every time you stumble, get back up. Even when stuff looks grim, like there's no way out, get back up. When you see no point to your existence, get back up. You get the point. Get back up, because he is good and he will help you walk through anything and everything that you're going through. Even if it's a terminal illness and you see that there's no way out and you've tried everything out, pray and ask the Father to guide you. There might be a holistic place they've been guiding you to go to. There's maybe a change in your diet. Not maybe, definitely. If you have a terminal illness, you most likely were eating terribly most of your life, or smoking or drugging or whatever it is, not taking care of yourself for many, many years. We reap what we sow. And unfortunately, maybe some cases we don't know where our illness or our cancer came from. Some people say it's genetic. It's possible. But I also believe that the Father gave us everything we needed to live a healthy life. He said, go out there and heal the sick. Well, how are we going to heal the sick? We don't even know the first thing about nutrition. We don't know the first thing about how our body functions. We don't understand any of this stuff. We don't even understand how prayer truly works. You know, they don't really teach us how to pray really well. They tell us a sentence or two in the scripture, but we don't dive into the scripture. So, like, it's a lot, guys, and it may be overwhelming, but you know what? It's a beautiful journey. And it says, if you seek, you will find me. If you knock, I will answer. And that means that you have to take some time and put some effort and work. And I know it doesn't sound like the quick fix that you expected it to be. But in all actuality, once you start walking in the light, you're going to want to live that way. You're going to feel so overwhelmed by their presence, the presence of the Father and the presence of the Messiah. And I say them separately, but I truly understand. I don't want to get into that right now. But It's the easy way for people to understand. But there's so much power in the union, that fellowship that they have with us, that relationship. They wanted an intimate relationship with us. That's only going to happen if you find out who they are and what they truly are about. What are the days that honor them? What is the day that honors the Father? There are 7 specific days that give honor and reverence to the Father. He says, do these things in remembrance. Remember these days. Why? Because it is kind of like a rehearsal, guys. You can't go and be in a production and in a play if you haven't gone to rehearsal. So the 7 feast days in the scripture are our rehearsal. The same way people talk rapture this, rapture that, and da da da, and no one knows the day or the hour. But you know what? We can know the season. Again, we may not know the day or the hour, but we should be able to know the season. The Messiah always talked in parables, and he always said that you shall know because the figs will be doing this and that, and the trees. He always spoke, and we should understand there's a lot more to this, but once you start connecting his language and understanding, wait a minute, he said this over here, and the Father or Moses or this one, da da da, and you'll start being able to connect. It's a beautiful picture, but if you're not diving in, you're not doing your homework, you're gonna miss so much. We will know the season by rehearsing. We will know what the spring feasts are, the first fruit time of year, if you will. Then you've got the fall feast. Those are the 2 major, and I believe 4 are here and 3 or vice versa. They're all one, boom boom boom, little by little after another. I believe a set of them, I should have had this typed up and printed out. I have all my information upstairs in the office, and I'm sorry guys that I'm all over the place, but I just wanted to get out here and start because the Father says, and I say he says, but the only way I'm going to be able to go out here is if I just start going out here and posting these videos, because otherwise I won't do it at all, because again, I don't want to be on here. But I do like to talk to people because I'm a people person, and I do meet people every day or see people every day in the work that I do. Therefore, the Father's pushing me to do the uncomfortable. And again, people, that's something else that you should also understand. The Father makes you uncomfortable. I might have said that on the first one of the first videos that I did. But the Father does not like us to be comfortable. If we're comfortable, we're coasting. And what happens when you coast? You're not getting anything done. You're not getting anywhere. So we need to learn how to be uncomfortable, because when we do, that's when we see something beautiful. He's chiseling away things from us, from our past, or things that we got used to, or being in a rut, whatever it is. He's working and molding us to what and who he has created us to be. So allow it to happen. Try to see every day, which it is a blessing, because nobody's promised tomorrow. Not everybody. No one is promised tomorrow. And the fact that you're here is a blessing. And the fact that you're able to hear this, not because of me, but because the Father has something that he wants for you to understand it. And I don't do this for everybody. I do this for that one person. If this video reaches one person and helps them maybe get on track or focus to understand that the Father helps us, but he's not going to do everything for us. We need to contribute. We need to be in a partnership and a fellowship with the Father, with the kingdom. And the kingdom is within us. There's so much more. There's a lot we can dive into, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. I don't want to give you guys more in this short video, or not so short. I'm already going at almost 25 minutes, but I just wanted to give you guys some info on the enemy. Let's stop blaming the enemy for things that we are sowing. Watch what you sow. Watch what you say and watch what you do. If you have to, make a list, an accountability list, and figure out what it is that you're doing in your life that's causing you to see the negative reactions that you don't want to see. And I'm not trying to sound all new agey or anything, because the scripture says that once we become a new creation and we've decided that this is the life that we want to live, it means there's transformation that is required, not asked, maybe you want to. No, it's required. Transformation is mandatory. And if there's no growth, there's no transformation. If there's no change, if there's no, whoa, I got to take a step back. If you're not analyzing what you're living through and what you're doing, if you're not seeing any progress, my family, then you're not following the true Father. And you're wandering after the beast, basically. And I hate to say it this way, but you're not wandering, you're not looking for the Father, you're not seeking him. Okay. And we know Mashiach says, in order to fulfill all the commandments, number one, love the Father with all your heart and all your soul, and love one another as yourselves. Love everybody. And I know some people will say, you know what, well, Israel is supposed to only love Israel. Yashrael only loves the tribal people, and these people don't like those people and whatnot. But guess what, guys? The scripture says there will be other nations that will gather. There will be other tongues and tribes and other people. It doesn't say just these people. There's going to be people grafted onto Yashrael, to Israel. And you got to start loving these people, because they're going to be the people gathered around the tribes, around us. So we need to remember that they're family too, and they may not be the same color. They may not speak the same language. We need to stop this division, because we're just making it better for everybody else to look at us and say, wow, you guys aren't even organized and you guys can't even get it together, because all you guys are doing is standing in the streets condemning this race and that race, because this one is Esau and that one is Esau. But yet most people say that Esau is not the Caucasian person. Esau is the Middle Eastern person. Nobody can get their stuff together. So we need to get it together, people. We need to get together the name. And even if we don't know the name, we need to be in order. The Father is a disciplined person. I can't even say person. Forgive me for that. I don't mean a person, because he's not a person. But the Father is organized. The Father has structure. The Father does everything perfectly. And if we think we're going to go up in there and we're going to start doing things and not be organized and not assemble correctly, we got another thing coming. There's structure to everything the Father has set up. If you check and you research, that every kingdom that ever ruled and ever did was structured. You have order and things like that. We need to stop acting like we can be scattered and doing all kinds. Well, this group is saying this and this group is doing. No, guys, we need to fall in line, and we need to get organized, because we're looking crazy out there. People are saying we're cults because we're messianics, or we're Yashrael, or we believe that we're from the tribe of Ephraim and we're the tribe from Reuben, and the 12 tribe chart and all this. There's just too much going on. We need to get it together. We need to stop disrespecting other people, because we don't know who the Father is going to use to bring us out of this situation or that situation. He can use anyone to help Yashrael. He can use anyone to give us land, to provide food, to get us on an airplane and on a ship, whatever. You don't know, and you can't be condemning everybody. Our job is to find the scattered sheep, to wake them up, and to let them know that it's time for us to fall in line. It's time for us to grow up and stop being comfortable in our church chair or in our pulpit, or in whatever. We need to stop being comfortable, and we got to get out of there, and we got to go do what we were told to do, what we were commanded to do. We are the salt of this world. We are meant to preserve it. We're the lights. We were sent here for this time for a reason, and we need to get together, be organized, and work for the goal of the kingdom, because the kingdom comes and his will be done, whether we're ready or not. So it's best that we're all together on one accord, because Yahuwah Echad, he's one. And we together, we're getting together to do big things, but as a family, one big family. Not all doing you can't have too many I forgot the saying, but you can't have too many leaders, okay? There's a structure. We need to get the structure together. We need to get organized. And okay, I'm gonna stop talking and repeating myself over and over with the same stuff. I love you, fam. I'm praying for everybody out there to wake up, to know the truth, to understand what time it is, and not to be pushing and promoting fear or anything like that. It's just time for us to put our big boy and girl clothes on, shoes on, whatever. It's time for us to be walking in the way. Shalom, everybody.